Hey everyone. Let's see how long I can make this video without my camera quitting on me again, because my storage space on my phone. Tried to make one a little bit ago, but it didn't work out so well. First I'm going to turn this off. Now, car's in gear or in neutral, it doesn't matter. If you do not have the clutch pedal in, that's what happens. Parking brake down, first gear, simultaneously letting off the clutch while pushing in the gas, and off we go. Second gear, anytime I shift, I push the clutch pedal in. Third gear. Now shift into second gear. Now, like I said, when you and I drive a stick shift, you can do whatever you want in your vehicle, but I personally never downshift into first. I just don't feel the need to. Try and get it to where you can. The reason I skipped a gear there is because there's a vehicle coming up right behind me as I took off from that intersection. I didn't see it because there was a bridge in the way. Well, there was a railing on a bridge in the way. So that's why I skipped a gear right there. But you probably didn't see it because I didn't realize the camera was tilted. This is why I like trying to do these videos, because like I said before, driving a stick shift is becoming a lost art, lost mode of transportation. Either nobody knows how to drive them anymore, or they know how to drive them, they just don't want to. It's too much of a hassle. Me personally, I quite enjoy it, even though, I've only been driving a stick for about 7 years. I like making it. That's why I like making these videos. But at the same time, it's difficult to do that by myself. When I'm by myself, there's nobody will hold the camera, so it goes all over the place when I try to take off, or when I either speed up or slow down. I wish I had something that I could set the phone on to hold it in place. Unfortunately, I don't have any equipment like that yet. Primarily, this video is going to be me talking about how to drive a stick, because I have a good few miles before I even get back to Shelbyville, where I live. I've said this before, in a stick shift vehicle, if you are trying to slow down or stop, the most simple way when you're first starting out is to push the clutch in, put the vehicle in neutral, and use the brake. A little bit more advanced way of doing that, same thing, is the vehicle's still in gear, push the clutch and brake in simultaneously. But the most advanced way is to downshift. And I didn't actually downshift to slow down. Actually, I take that back. I downshifted the very first day that I drove a stick shift. I downshifted to slow down. I was doing like 50 mile an hour in a 50 zone. Saw a speed limit sign that it was speed limit went from 50 to 40, so I downshifted into fourth gear. but I still consider it the most advanced way of slowing down and or stopping. Now, the reason I never downshift into first gear is just I don't see the point in it. You're only doing, first gear 0 to 10 miles an hour, depending on the vehicle. I mean, every vehicle I've had was a stick shift. I had a 1999 Honda Accord that was a 4-cylinder 5-speed, 2.3-liter engine. I had a 02 Honda Civic that was a 4-cylinder 5-speed, 1.9-liter engine. This is a 07 Mazda 6. It's a 4-cylinder 5-speed, and it's a 2.3-liter engine. So all my vehicles, 10 mile, first gear has been between 0 to 10 miles an hour on average. Other vehicles, it'll be different. If you have a bigger engine, it's going to be different. Or if you have more gears or less gears, because they used to make, they had 3-speed, they had 4-speed, they had 5-speed, which is what this is, and they also have 6-speed now. I mean, it depends on how many gears you have and how big the engine is. But for me, on average, it's 0 to 10 is first gear, 10 to 20 is second gear, 20 to 30 is third gear, 30 to 40 is fourth gear, and then anything above 40 miles an hour is fifth gear. You might think that the hardest part of driving a stick shift at first is shifting, which I thought the exact same thing. I thought, man, the hardest part about driving a stick's got to be knowing when to shift and how to shift and everything else. When you start learning how to drive a stick shift, you're going to find out the simplest part is actually shifting. It sounds really weird, but the hardest part when you first start learning how to drive a stick is taking off. Hardest part is taking off. Some people believe all you have to do is slowly release the clutch. Some people think you have to give it a little bit of gas and then release the clutch. Some people, say you have to release the clutch really quickly. You have to release the clutch really slowly. Every clutch is different. You got to find the bite point. I mean, I don't sit there and slam on the clutch and then quickly release it or anything like that. When I'm driving this, I'm doing it steadily. I'm not doing it fast, I'm not doing it slow. I'm doing it steadily. Because I know where the bite point is. I know where the bite point is, and I use that to drive this. But the hardest part is taking off when you first start learning how to drive a stick. But then when you've been driving for a couple days maybe, or maybe within the first couple hours when you first learn, you'll find out the hardest part is taking off on a hill. I actually did a video like that earlier. When you first learn how to drive a stick, it's best to use the parking brake, like I said in that video, where you put the parking brake up, you have the clutch pedal is in, the vehicle is in gear, and you slowly and very meticulously put the parking brake down, push the gas, and release the clutch all at the same time. Now, when you get really good, you may not need to use the parking brake. Some people don't. Me personally, I've gotten good enough to where I don't have to use it. I have, even to this, even recently. Not just for the video that I did earlier, but I have used the parking brake. It depends on the situation. If there's not a vehicle behind me, I feel no need to use the parking brake. But if there's a vehicle, there's been times when I've been on a hill and there's a car or vehicle behind me and a vehicle in front of me, and that's the situation where I use the parking brake. But when you learn how to drive a stick shift in your own vehicle, it's up to you. Once you get good enough to where everything's second nature. For me, everything is second nature with driving a stick shift at this point. I just know how to do it. When you get that good enough to be like that, you can do it however you want. It's another reason why I don't downshift if there's a vehicle right behind me in traffic, because when you downshift, they don't know first. When you downshift, you're not hitting the brake, which means they don't see brake lights, which means they can potentially rear end you. They don't realize you're slowing down. There's a vehicle behind me, but it's not directly behind me, so I'm going to downshift. I was doing 55 mile an hour, downshifted into fourth gear, the car's slowing down to fourth gear. When I get to 40 miles an hour, which is right now, third gear. The reason I didn't downshift into second is because that vehicle was getting closer. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you to anyone who watches this. Please subscribe if you haven't already for more content. Let's all have a good and safe day.